Ever wondered why the tortoise has a shell that looks like a crazy patchwork of broken pieces all glued back together? Well, let me tell you, I was there the day it happened. It's a story about cunning, a little too much greed, and a very, very long fall. It all started a long, long time ago, when the sky and the earth were much closer friends than they are today. Back then, there was a great famine in the land. The crops withered, the rivers ran low, and every animal, big and small, had a hungry look in its eyes. We were all struggling, searching for anything to eat. But up in the sky, things were different. The sky people were getting ready for a magnificent feast, a celebration with mountains of food and rivers of sweet palm wine. The birds, with their beautiful wings, were the only ones invited from our world on the ground. You can imagine how we all felt. We'd watch the birds preening their feathers, getting all excited, and our stomachs would rumble with jealousy. But no one was more envious than MBE the tortoise. Now, MBE was known throughout the land for two things: his smooth, shiny shell and his even smoother tongue. He was clever, oh yes, incredibly clever, but his cleverness was often overshadowed by his enormous appetite and his even bigger greed. When MBE heard about the feast in the sky, his eyes lit up with a familiar glint. He knew he couldn't fly, but that small detail wasn't going to stop him. He approached the birds, putting on his most charming and pitiful face. He spoke about the terrible hunger on the land, how his children were crying for just a single crumb of bread. His voice was so persuasive, so full of sorrow, that the birds' hearts began to soften. He told them, "My dear friends, you are kind and generous. While you go to enjoy this wonderful feast, think of us suffering down here. I only wish I could go with you, to represent all the land animals and to bring back a little something for us starving families." The birds looked at each other. They were good-hearted creatures. The eagle, their leader, said, "But MB, how would you get there? You have no wings." MB had already thought of that. "That's where your kindness comes in," he said with a smile. "If each of you would lend me just one feather, I could fashion a pair of wings for myself. I promise I will be the best behaved guest and speak well of you all." The birds, moved by his plea, agreed. One by one, they each plucked a single, colorful feather and gave it to MBE. There was a bright red one from the parrot, a shimmering blue from the kingfisher, a strong brown one from the eagle. MBE carefully attached them to his sides, and soon he had a magnificent patchwork coat of wings. He looked rather strange, a walking, talking rainbow, but he could fly. He flapped his new wings awkwardly at first, but with the birds' help, he was soon soaring through the air alongside them. As we journeyed up towards the sky, MBE's charming personality was on full display. He told jokes, sang songs, and was the life of the party. The birds were so impressed. They thought, what a wonderful representative for the land animals. Just as we were about to arrive at the feast, MBE gathered all the birds together. He cleared his throat and said, "My friends, for this special occasion, it is a custom in my land for everyone to take a new name. It brings good fortune. I will be your spokesman, so I should choose my name first." The birds all nodded in agreement. It sounded like a fun tradition. MB puffed out his chest and declared, "For this feast, my name will be All of You." The birds just shrugged. "All of you?" "What a strange name," the dove whispered. But they didn't question it. They were too excited about the food that they could now smell wafting up to greet them. When we arrived, the sky people welcomed us warmly. The tables were groaning under the weight of pounded yam, egusi soup, jollof rice, roasted meats, and giant bowls of fresh fruit. It was more food than any of us had seen in our entire lives. Our host, the chief of the sky people, smiled and said, "We have prepared this feast for our friends, the birds." Then, turning to the feast, he announced, "This is for all of you." Before a single bird could even dip its beak into a bowl, MBE the tortoise stepped forward boldly. "Did you hear that?" he boomed, turning to the startled birds. He said, "The feast is for all of you, and that is my name, so all of this food is for me." The birds were stunned into silence. He was right. According to the name he had chosen, the host had just offered the entire feast to him. They watched in disbelief as MB waddled over to the largest mountain of yam and began to eat. And oh, how he ate. He didn't just take a little of everything. He devoured everything. He stuffed his mouth so full he could barely chew, his eyes wide with greed. He ate the yams, the soups, the rice, the meat, gobbling it all down without a single thought for the hungry birds who had helped him get there. The birds were heartbroken and furious. They had been tricked, and their kindness had been used against them. Their stomachs were empty, but their hearts were full of anger. One by one, as MB continued to gorge himself, the birds flew over to him. "You are a selfish, greedy creature," the parrot squawked and plucked back his red feather. "You tricked us," chirped the kingfisher, taking back his shimmering blue feather. "You do not deserve our friendship," the eagle said sternly, and reclaimed his strong, brown feather. One by one, they all took back their feathers, until MB was left with nothing but his own heavy shell and a stomach so full he could barely move. The feast was gone, and so were his wings. MB began to panic. He was stranded in the sky with no way to get back down. He begged the birds for help, but they turned their backs on him and began their journey home, leaving him alone. Desperate, he shouted down to his wife on the earth below. "My dear wife, I'm stuck. Quick, bring out all the soft things from our house. Pile up all the leaves, the claws, the grass, everything soft, so I can jump down and have a soft landing." His wife heard his voice, but the wind muddled his words. She thought he shouted, "Bring out all the hard things. Pile up all the rocks, the sticks, the tools, everything hard." Puzzled but obedient, she did as she thought he asked. She gathered all the hard objects she could find, hoes, machetes, stones, and logs, and made a big, hard pile in their compound. Up in the sky, MB saw the pile growing. He couldn't see exactly what it was made of, but he trusted his wife. Believing a soft bed was waiting for him, he took a deep breath, tucked in his head and limbs, and let himself fall from the sky. He fell and fell and fell. Down, down, down he went, a tiny spinning ball hurtling towards the earth, and then, crack! He landed right in the middle of the pile of hard things. His beautiful, smooth shell, the one he was so proud of, shattered into hundreds of tiny pieces. He lay there, broken and in agony, groaning in pain. It took the best medicine man in the whole land to piece him back together. He carefully collected all the fragments and, using a powerful glue, stuck his shell back into one piece. But it was never the same again. The cracks and lines remained, a permanent reminder of his greed and his great fall from the sky. And that is why, to this very day, the tortoise's shell is not smooth. It's a map of crisscrossing lines, a mosaic of broken promises. It's a story written on his own back, a story of how a clever tongue and a greedy heart can lead to a very hard fall. So next time you see a tortoise, look closely at his shell and remember the feast in the sky. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you love hearing tales from around the world, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching.